Hello, hello. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Career Conversations. I'm your host, Unica Walcott, and today's guest is Terry Bracken II, and he works at the intersection of academics and athletics. And so we're going to talk a little about his career journey and some of the unexpected turns it's taken, and learn more about why he does what he does. Welcome to the show, Terry.
Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being a part of the show. I had to twist your arm a little bit. It's like, come on, bro. You can do it. You don't like it
Hey,
much, but you do it for me.
anything for little sis. So I got you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anytime.
So when you tell family that you work in athletics and academics, what do they think that means?
That means I'm doing something that's fun. Um, my son, all he thinks is, oh, when you go work for a Jordan school or a Nike school so I can get free shoes. And he looks at it as just a benefit.
Oh, so he's like, where are the shoes at, Dad? I need
Pretty
the
pretty
shoes.
much. But at the same time, they look at it as I'm doing something that I enjoy, something that I love. And it's still funny to my mom who thinks or who says, "Oh, so you're in education? Out of all the stuff that you planned and said you would never do, and now you're in education and you're trying to move up, and you're talking about, oh, you want a PhD one day? Oh, education. So yeah,
Oh, yeah, I'm sure she gets a kick out of that as a teacher.
very, very.
So did you always want, so you said you never would do this maybe, and how did you end up landing in education then?
I said I would never be like my parents, and I tried
I'm
my
enjoying this too much.
I know. I know. Me and my other guy sister, we both said that we would never be like our parents, and then we ended up both being in education. The journey was long, was twisted, and needed to happen. I started off as a marketing major at Dillard University. Shout out to all my HBCUs. Unfortunately, um, I went to New Orleans. I didn't go to Dillard. That second year, let's just put it like that. Uh,
You went to New Orleans, you did
I
not go
went
to.
to New Orleans. I didn't go to Dillard that second year. Came back home, went to Delta. Can't even say I made the Delta difference. I was just there. I had knee surgery, and then maybe less than a year after that, I moved to Phoenix. And I looked at it as, okay, I just want to work. I just want to have a job. I wasn't focused on career dreams, goals, or aspirations. It was, I want to work. And as I kept finding out, yeah, that work stuff gets played out because if you're not happy, there's no matter amount of money that will satisfy you and make you happy when you're miserable.
This is true. You know, okay, you can give me six figures if I hate it. You can't get me to stay here long.
Correct. And that's pretty much where I was feeling that I'm just wasting time. And it took for me to come home, due to certain circumstances and say, okay, let me get my act together. And it's funny, the whole time while in Phoenix, I worked for a university. It was an online university that then fired like 500 people at one time, made CNN. And the whole time, I'm 10 credits short of having my associates.
Ouch.
So the whole 8 years I'm in Phoenix, I work for a university. There's another university. I pass about three or four colleges, JUCOs, and I'm 10 credits short. So literally, as I came home, I ran into the whole you have experience, but you don't have education, or you have too much experience and we can't hire you. So it was okay, let's take the ladder and let's wrap up what needs to be wrapped up.
Okay, so you went back to school and finished it up.
Finished it up and then got my first master's thinking I was going to be a K through 12 all American and let me work with young minds and all this and yeah, probably about the fourth, fifth year, I was like, okay, this is exhausting. This is not where I want to be.
4 or 5 years is a significant stretch, though. What did you learn in those 4 or 5 years that helped you realize it wasn't for you?
Um, the attitudes and demeanors of the students, of teachers, as well as administration, where a lot of people talk the I'm here for the student, I'm here to mold and change, but then you come to find out, no, you're just here to make yourself look good. Or you're here because of a title made you look very appealing for a raise, and just a lot of stuff that I saw morally that I couldn't be involved in. And I know my temperament as well as my demeanor and disposition. I was going to say something one day to somebody that it
Would not
wasn't
have
going
been
to be,
appropriate.
no, it wasn't going to be appropriate. But at the same time, I wouldn't have cared. And I would have
No, because
said,
you also have this very firm sense of justice from what I know about you. You're like, look, if you're wrong, you're wrong. I'm going to let you know you're wrong.
correct. You call a spade. And like, I don't ever mind being called out. To me, it's a push. To me, it's constructual criticism. So if I'm lacking somewhere or doing something I shouldn't be doing, or I'm I'm just lollygagging, muddling through, call me out. Because then that means you love me and you care about me enough to say, hey, you need to stop what you're doing. And it was a lot of people who said that, but their actions didn't show it.
Ah, so it sounds like you had this moment where you recognize, like, I'm in the wrong circle. These people are not calling me to the highest and best part of myself so that I can really live at the
Correct.
level I'm supposed to be on.
Correct. Because it was a joke at the end where I took on a volunteer AD role. We had lost our AD at Saginaw High, and I took over. Pretty much, they gave it to the assistant principal, but I was running it. And at the same time, I wanted to learn more, so I worked with the AD from Arthur Hill. And when time came to come up for the interview and everything else, it was, oh, we want to give it to this person because they've been at the school longer. It's like, oh, okay. I see the games, I see the
Thank you for
ploy.
letting me know where I stand.
Correct.
My
And
favorite language. It's
and
like,
once you let me know where I stand and where I'm at, you don't have to say anything else to me. I'm good. Because you've already let me know directly and subliminally what you think about me and where I stand in your little totem pole and environment.
yeah. So you say AD. I want to clarify that's athletic
So
director.
it'll be an athletic director in high school, correct?
Okay. Okay. Want to make sure we're all on the same page. Somebody goes, AD, like, you mean assistant
So
director
going
or
Nope.
athletic?
So the whole shebang and bang of being over the scheduling, the money, the finances, attendance, making sure grades and eligibility. Like, to me, that's fun because again, I've come from that world of being a athlete, so I'm still thinking in that athletic mentality, but at the same
Mhm.
time, the business side.
Well, that's pretty sweet to find that intersection where athletics and business really come together
Mhm.
to mentor young people because you understand how they think. You said you went off to school and you went to Dillard, and then the second year you went to New Orleans. So
I went to New Orleans. I was there.
He's like, I was registered. I was not present.
Yeah, I was registered. I attended some classes, I was there. I had my meal plan, but yeah, I was there.
But so that means, like, now as an adult, someone who's moved forward and progressed, you working on your second master's, um, you are able to understand that mindset and what's going on in someone's head when they register for classes, and sometimes they show up, and sometimes they're
Just
downtown
there.
in the French Quarter.
Mhm. And it's funny how I have these conversations with my athletes, and it turns into a mentoring, but then at the same time, it turns into that father figure where I've had so at Eastern I have men's football and women's golf, but I interact with all the sports. So basketball, track, rowing, well, women's rowing, softball team. So yeah, baseball, track, um, women's soccer. So, I interact with a lot of them, and it's just funny how, personality will make you cling to somebody. And one of my football players, The first thing he said to me when we met was, "Oh, you got a neck tattoo. Oh, we're gonna be cool." And I looked at him like, first of all, it's too early in the morning. Second of all, you're not ready for the push that I'm about to give you. And our director had like pre-warned us about certain players, like, okay, hey, you're going to stay on this player about this, this, and this, and making sure, and whatever in their calendar. And my first thing that I always kind of tell a lot of my students is that I push you. I'm not going to be a yes man. You're probably going to hate me, but you're going to respect the fact of what I'm trying to get you to do, because I want you to understand that there's life past football. Granted, I always keep forgetting that Eastern Michigan is a D1 school. And I said I wanted to work for a D1 program, and here I go. But Eastern is not always looked at as a football powerhouse. So I'm trying to get my student athletes to understand that, yeah, I want you to have a phenomenal year. I want you to be recognized in the MAC, the Mid American Conference. I want you to win all these accolades, but at the end of the day, you step wrong getting out the bed, you can blow your knee out.
Yeah.
You can't blow this out. This is something that you will never lose, and that it was always attainable for more knowledge and more information. And I just want them to achieve and be successful in anything and everything that they do.
So you're saying to them, look, yes, be, an excellent athlete, get all the awards, get all the trophies, be on all these lists, but also be mindful that, like you said, when you step out of the bed in the morning, this could be the moment that ruins all of that for you. You still need to be able to have abilities beyond that that are going to feed you and your family and provide the kind of life you desire.
Correct.
And so that's really good advice. And so what is the response when you share that with young people a lot of times? What kind of feedback do you get?
A lot of it is actually positive. A lot of it is, thank you, I appreciate it. And a lot of them are, it's you showing me that you care. Because a lot of people say, oh, I care about you, I want this. But it's until your actions show and prove, that's when it's, okay, I respect you more. And like I said, I've had students that are not even on my list of, academic advising, and they'll come sit with me and just, have a conversation like, hey, what about this in life? And what about that? And I'm like, well, when I was your age, and now I'm sounding like that old man talking about get off my lawn, but I'm hitting them with the when I was your age. And a lot of it is, it's trying to get them to understand that you're going to have your faults. You're going to fail. Failure is your greatest attribute because you learn from failure. It's me trying to say, hey, I know you're going to fail, but I don't want you to hit the ground as hard as you possibly could. I want to direct you and possibly give you that food for thought to say, okay, hey, maybe instead of just jumping into this, maybe let me think and then kind of divert myself and go in another direction. So that's all I can do is, kind of give that knowledge and information so that when they're not around me or when they're somewhere else, they're not making, excuse me, the mistakes that we see a lot of our young Black males make or other athletes that make in the world. And it's like, okay, well, people are always saying, well, why didn't that person have guidance, or why didn't that person have this? For me, it's paying it back, and then at the same time paying it forward. J. Cole said best, I'm big bro and little bro all at once.
Facts.
And I still have mentors who will rip into me if I say something, or will tell me, hey, you need to go read this because I can't tell you something right now. And then a week or a month later, it'll come up and I'm like, man, you was right. I was tripping. I was tripping. You were absolutely right. And the biggest thing that one of my athletic mentors said to me was that it's not about money. If you're hunting it for money, you're in the wrong profession. You're never going to be happy or be satisfied. And it took for me there was a book he gave me to read, but it took for me to be at Eastern one morning to actually understand, like, he is absolutely right. This is why I enjoy what I do, and I love being around these students as well as the atmosphere. Not granted, the free clothes too, but still.
So there are at least some free clothes. That's a
Oh,
gift.
I mean, even though it's Adidas, we're gonna rock it around the house. But it's just some free stuff here and there, and free game passes and everything, sideline passes. We're gonna rock that.
Oh, look, that's nice. Look, you can
Mhm.
send me some free stuff if you don't want to wear
Oh, I got you. Got
it.
you.
So, no, seriously, you sound like you really love and care about your students. How do you take care of yourself when sometimes you see some of your students do things that might leave you awake at night?
That's when you have to learn to separate. You have to learn to separate and understand that as much as you are around them, they're still not your kids. You
Mm.
can guide them and provide knowledge as much as possible, but just like your own children or child, they're going to do what they want to do. The only thing is you hope and pray is that just don't do anything that's going to affect you where you can't bounce back, recover, or get yourself out of a situation. So a lot of it, when I talk to them, hey, how was your weekend? Hey, how you doing? You ain't do nothing to get you in trouble, did you? You know, it's still a parent conversation, but it's still hey, I'm letting you know that I'm concerned. I'm making sure you're good. Is there anything that I can help you with? If I can't help you, who can I get you or direct you to help you? So it's one of those just learning to separate and leave the job at the job, even though I still have my players will call me or text me about certain things or for their classes. And it's like, okay, look, I appreciate it. I'm just doing what I can do, but it's just learning to separate and say you have to leave one thing where it's at instead of always taking it with you.
I love it. I love it. So, what is a typical day like for you?
Depending on the school. So so at Eastern, you day starts at 5:15 in the morning. Okay. From there, getting everything started, trying to figure out, okay, who's on my calendar. I would say Teamworks for a lot of D1 schools, Division 1 schools. It's an app called Teamworks. It's the greatest app, the greatest calendar, the greatest everything. It's pretty much putting together, okay, who do I talk to today? Who am I meeting with? Do I need to prepare myself because this person had this type of assignment, or was it a big game? Was it a blowout? A lot of the players, they don't they compartmentalize it where they look at it like now it's like it's business. Where okay, we lost and we'll talk about it, we chop it up. But it's depending on how many meetings I have that day. Um, do I have a staff meeting? Do I have, what kind of projects do I have going? So for Eastern, it's literally 5 hours of either relaxation or just constantly moving. So from there, I leave Eastern to then Wayne State, which is a D2 program, Division 2, downtown Detroit. And there is a little more hectic because now I'm over 17 athletic programs. So I am a
Okay.
GA internship at Eastern, which they're paying for the classes, but then I'm running Wayne State's athletic department pertaining to their learning specialist slash academic advisory program
And working on a master's degree.
and working on a master's degree,
So
trying
when
to
do you
work
sleep?
out. eh, I don't know. I sleep in the basement. I crash on the couch. I make it up to the bed sometimes. It's a lot, but at the same time, this is what I asked for. I
You
said
seem happy doing it too, though. Like that's the thing.
you have to, because if not, somebody else is going to do it, or you can't ask for something and then say, "Hey, I wanted this, but I want to pick and choose what I want or how I want to do it." It doesn't work like that. So right now, I'm putting in the work to say, okay, hey, I'm wrapping up school, I'm wrapping up one job, then I'm going to another job. So then hopefully within these coming weeks, I get a call from one or two or more schools and say, hey, we want to interview you, and we take off that pressure of doing multiple jobs, and now you focus on one job.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it will be awesome.
It's coming. It's coming.
And you know what? It just takes time. So that's the next thing is always building on patience and making sure that okay, you're doing everything for the right reasons. It's not just about looking good. It's about your love, your passion, and finding that this is your niche. And I've told other folks, I'm not leaving this.
You're
I'm
not
not
leaving
leaving.
athletics and academics
I'm
together.
not. You're gonna take me out scratching, clawing, bloody. I'm not
So this is like the game for you. Like I'm here to win.
correct. And other than winning, it's moving up. It's okay, work this area, work this department, but then it's okay, next step is development. And I've already made that known with some of the directors that I've spoken with is that my ultimate goal is development. Okay, maybe a director somewhere, but I want to be in development for on the student athlete side, on the academic, not financial.
Okay, so can you elaborate because I have no idea what that means.
So development, depending on the school and depending on the size, a lot
Mhm.
of development deals with fundraising. So pretty much you're going to boosters, you're going to alumni, you're going to, set up these events to ask for money. But there's also, depending on the school, they have development where you're working hand in hand with that student athlete, making sure like, hey, their mental is good, making sure that they're taking care of classes. Like you're the advisor, but on another level and just a little bit more a comfortable chair. So my director of development, I send I guess you say my reports to him every Thursday. So he
Mhm.
works with women's golf and maybe two or three other more sports. And it's making sure that you have that rapport with your students and making sure like, hey, what can we do to make sure that you are achieving or you are having academic success? So it's just a little bit more higher on the totem pole. Um, I've never looked at myself as somebody to say, okay, a position or a title makes me, but it's still showing that, hey, I can rise wherever I'm at, but at the same time, still be humbled enough to say, okay, hey, I'm only just a piece in the machine. That's it.
I love it. So you really see yourself as like, okay, I'm here to develop people, and also you seem like you're really focused on developing yourself. You're working on your second master's. You're reading books. You've got mentors for yourself. You are also mentoring other people. What advice would you give somebody that's interested in pursuing a career similar to yours?
Be aggressive.
Be aggressive.
You have to be aggressive.
Okay.
Um, you'll find out that this is a just like any other job, any other profession, you'll have somebody who's out there is better than you.
Mhm.
Building connections, building resources, well, not resources, but building connections, building those bridges. That's always an amazing thing to do. But you have to be aggressive on what you want. Um, Getting the education, for starters, not saying something that you won't do. Like I said, I would never have a GA-ship. I would never be an intern. I'm not working for free. I'm not working for pennies. Yeah, I found myself jumping up and I'll take the job. I'll take it. You have to be aggressive because the more that people see that you do and that you're working on, you're either multitasking, the more you make yourself look available or just the career, just the whole, oh well, this person can do this. He or she can fit in this, and they're interchangeable. Like you have to be aggressive because if not, these positions they come in, they go out real quick.
So it's about making sure people know what you want to do, showing that you were willing to put in the work
Correct.
without a lot of complaints and whining. I'm here, I'm getting it done, I'm reliable. And that's
Correct.
how you open those doors.
It is. A lot of it too, unfortunately due to COVID, a lot of these conventions that I would have loved to go into, I guess you could say, athletic wise. Um, I went to one conference and it's like a big LinkedIn party conference. Again, that's the Mid American Conference. We all met in Cleveland, and you met everybody from all the schools in the conference. but you found out that everybody knows each other. And
Yes.
that's the biggest thing that I found on LinkedIn with one of the directors from TCU, as well as another one from Old Dominion. Everybody knew each other. Like, she'll tell you, "Hey, I got 6 schools under my belt. Who do you need? What do you need?" And the first thing she told me before was, "You'll find out that the circle is smaller than what you think." And I literally started finding that out once I started connecting with multiple people. And then I would see the same person under somebody else's connections. And it's like, man, and
It's
a
taking
lot
me
of
back
people,
to like being like in like radio and TV and like going to New York like for like 2 months and meeting like 5 or 6 people that knew people from different parts of the country. I was like, oh, so I'm sleeping on your cousin's couch and I sit behind your cousin in class.
mhm,
Just crazy.
when they say the 6 degrees of separation,
It's
it's
quite
real.
literal.
It is really real, and it's really a small world compared to what you think. And so being able to learn to network properly, being able to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's the biggest thing I tell my students. You have to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because you're either going to work with people that you're not going to like, you're going to have to put yourself in a position where you're not going to like it. But if it's to get the job done and be successful, you have to do it. Oh man, you find a way. And I've put myself in positions where I'm like, I'm not comfortable, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you learn to adjust. And I think that's where the athletic side and that mentality comes from. It's just like a game plan. You go into a game, and if it's not working, you learn to adjust.
I love it. So it sounds like you're a person that really believes in perseverance and being flexible. You said,
Have
look,
to.
we said we were going to run this play. It didn't work. Let's try it differently.
Hmm. And that's also the part of failure. Once you fail, you find out that didn't work out the way I needed to work out. You learn from your failures. You learn from what happened, what you didn't do, to now let me make these changes.
Learn from failure. Is there anything that I have not asked that you'd like to share?
I don't know. I don't know. Just always be yourself. Always make sure you're always humble. Humble and hungry. That's always a gray area, but making sure that you're always humble, because if not, you can get humbled really quick. Like, and
I tell people, I was like, the first few years of your career, expect to get sat down on a regular basis. If you don't, you're not learning anything.
very. And I tell my director at Eastern all the time, like, first of all, how much I appreciate her. Second of all, I'm sorry for doing this. And then third is like, now I understand everything that you are teaching us. Now I'm doing the same thing to my group of GAs, which is grad assistants. And I have to laugh. And I'm like, I'm probably the most unprofessional professional person out here. And y'all got me leading people. It's hilarious because of who I am, from who
People
our
go,
parents were.
we won't even talk about that on
Yeah,
TV.
yeah. So
But like,
it's
I told my mother-in-law where I'm from. Well, born. Like people, lots of people, you from Atlanta? Like, yeah, that's where I grew up. But like, where I was like born, like, and lived till I was like 10, where my family lives,
a
like,
different
we're from
mentality.
Saginaw. My mother-in-law said, "Ugh," and I was not offended. I busted out laughing.
Mhm, mhm. The one director I talked to from Old Dominion, he was like, man, he said a name, and then I dropped the nickname. He was like, I'm like, yeah, uh-huh. And then I asked him, like, what you doing up in here? Uh-huh.
How they
And,
let us in this room?
well, that's due to being part of the frat. So
Oh,
that's part of that connection building, where if you don't do good in one interview, and then you find out that your frat brother was sitting in that same interview because they wanted more experience, and then you get a text message saying, I need you to apply for this. And then you find
oh,
out that where you're applying to, the frat brother is the executive AD.
oh, well, that's always nice.
Oh, very. Got to build those connections and bridges.
Network is so vital. Like,
Oh,
I
very.
don't know where I would be without the amazing people that I've met.
Man, it is funny. I do networking via on my Instagram as well as just LinkedIn. I'm
Wait,
not
you
on
gotta stop for me. You're networking on Instagram.
fraternity brothers. Let it be fraternity brothers or people I need to know. I always make sure I have somebody and something somewhere, no matter where in the US I'm at. I have to know somebody, and that's just always being comfortable in case something ever happens.
Going to San Jose, there's people there. Like, always know somebody.
hmm So whether it be a family member, if not, find out on Instagram. Oh, y'all there? I'm on the way. I'll be there if y'all see me, and please don't run up on me. I'm friend. So
We're friendly over here. Like, just say hello.
mhm,
It's
mhm.
not a
But
problem.
other than that, man, LinkedIn is literally my best friend.
It's her
Like
best friend.
that's literally my
It's
best.
my best friend too. I've been enjoying LinkedIn Live for the
Man, that's my
last year hosting career conversations. It's been my favorite little hobby. And people are like, "This is not your job." I'm like, "No, it's just
mm,
fun."
it's hey, but at the same time, it's gotten me in the door at Wayne State. That's how I literally landed this job via LinkedIn and being able to mingle with people and say, "Hey, look, I'm posting for this job. Can you let such and such know?" And a lot of it too is what you post. If you're posting positive things and putting that energy out there, a lot of people see that and they like it. They may not say it directly, but a lot of people, and this is the biggest thing that I've had to tell my student athletes, you'll be amazed of who's looking at you. You have no clue who's watching you, who's looking at you. And I posted a picture, and a matter of fact, I think you saw it, the one at the bookstore with
Yeah.
the cap, the gown. I really didn't understand like until I took it and I looked at it and was like, wow, this is meaningful. And then what I said was just, this is just real life. Things didn't mean anything until now. It's like, okay, hey. And then everything else that I post is always like, just try to change the outlook. Just try to have a different outlook in a different space. Because at the same time, you never know who needs to read that. You never know who needs to see that and have that encouragement, that engagement of, damn, that just got me over the hump. That just got my, you know what, I needed that. And, for me, it's just, hey, this is what I enjoy doing. This is my love. This is passion. And just, it's natural. It's not forced.
And that's the difference, like when you live in like that zone of like just genius and you can really do what you are passionate about, what you're gifted in,
hmm
you'll be unstoppable.
Always.
All right, bro. Well, I have absolutely enjoyed chatting with you. I am so grateful that you were willing to be a part of
Anytime.
Career Conversations and share your passion
Anytime.
for athletics and education. And even though you decided, I don't think I want to do this when I grow up, God had different plans.
Hey, what they say, he like a 10-year-old with an ant farm. You tell him what you want, and he'll tell you, nah, I got something better for you. That you
Exactly. Kind of reminds me of Yvonne Orji's book, Bamboozled by Jesus.
man,
I
that's a heck of a title.
I love it. You got to check it out. I laughed so hard because I listened to the audiobook.
hmm And but that's really what it is. It's funny. It's really funny to say I didn't want to be anything like my parents, and now I'm over here like I'm just like y'all.
Well, your parents are such great people.
There's I.
Yeah, I
There's I.
I would tell your mama you said that.
She's still a 5'2" bulldog.
I,
She
I don't know why I thought your mom was taller than that, but I guess this is
No,
our
she
little.
like 5'4", 5 something. I mean, me and Jameer, or I surpassed her in high school or middle school, and you still get that. I don't care how tall you are, I still beat.
Yeah, she's as my grandma says, I will stand on a chair
Yep, yep.
and beat you with the other one.
hmm So I
She won't really
mean,
do that, but she just lets you know, look, you're not in charge.
yeah, and it's funny like how I tell her how much I appreciate her for keeping her foot in my behind because you never understanding how much you need it until it's like, dang, I am really glad that this happened. I am really glad. Like you hated it at the time, but then when you start noticing, like, I really needed that kick in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it.
All right. Well, Terry Bracken, future athletic director at a D1 school. I'm gonna just put it out there. We're gonna see it happen, and then you're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about it. Like you're gonna get to like year one, and
Man,
then we're gonna come back to career conversations, and I'm gonna go. So, was it what you thought you wanted?
hey, just because they make six figures don't mean they don't get no six figures of stress.
My sister said the same thing. She was like, "Girl," she's like, "I've been interviewing, and I was asking people. Well, this is when she was interviewing. She said, I've been asking people, not so much about the pay, but what kind of stress does this job come with? Because I don't want the six figures of stress."
Nah, I would say it's what you make it, but I know the smaller programs. I think that's something I could probably do like better. Never mind. Let me keep that. But I could probably do a smaller program and then work myself up if that was something that I saw myself wanting to do. You can do anything you want to do. Iron strengthens iron.
For sure. All
So,
right, everybody, thank you so much for watching Career Conversations. Thank you, Terry Bracken the second, big bro, for showing up for
uh,
your little sister. I appreciate
uh,
you, and we'll
anytime.
talk.